Hello and welcome to our coverage of Autosport International 2014. Always a major event for automotive fans and for those involved in motorsport to come together, get close to the machinery and do deals in the sport as well. There's lots to see inside, everything from karting to Formula One. Let's go in and take a look. Okay viewers, so here we are inside then. We have the Motorsports Association here. They support lots of bodies within motorsport, the British Women's Racing Drivers Clubs amongst many others, and they have presentations at the show throughout the few days as well, which is a great opportunity also for new young racing drivers to find sponsors and get the information they need. Talking of young racing drivers, we have the Yokohama stand just over here as well, and you can see the Formula 4, which was launched last year as well, a new form of affordable motorsport. That's always the issue with motorsport, is getting involved. It's making a spec car that makes it fair on everyone and is affordable, and finding new talent and getting them into the business of motor racing as well. And it's a great opportunity to fans to get up close, see the details on the car as well. And very nice it is too. This was launched last year at the Autosport show, and of course we're seeing it again here this year. I'm not clear if there's any refinements to the car from last year or developments, but no doubt we'll find more about that later in the season. Let's take a look, see what else we can find. Okay, so having our random stroll, we see the new BTCC Civic Honda estate there, which is always interesting. Reminds me of, it's been years since we've seen many estates in the BTCC. Of course I remember the Volvo, and that was a looker as well. Over here, the Nankang, what's that, Nankang tyres we have over here as well. There's so many media and people hovering about here. Of course, we've got the Mazda MX-5. Those of you that play iRacing will know of this car. It will have a special place in your hearts as well, of that there's no doubt. And of course we see a range of different cars as well. A lot of Japanese cars, drift cars, lots of tuned cars and details like that. You don't see so many of them, but it's nice to see a return to them at the show, because they've been sort of an area of motorsport that's been sort of neglected over the last few years, and I guess a lot of that is down to sort of the modding and the insurance costs and everything else. But let's crack on, see what else we can find. So viewers, now we see the Radical RXC Turbo, which is powered by the Ford EcoBoost. And this is the way cars are going now, isn't it? They're changing the engines now, the way they work, and this is working down to consumer cars as well. A really nice example here. They've really sort of developed the car. Lots of nice little details here and there. Looks very racy as we walk around the bodywork. That kind of carbon fibre look they've given it. Lots of little details as we work our way around to the engines. Always looking very impressive. Cockpit there, quite plush as well. Very nice. So certainly there's lots of detailing, styling, a very racy feel to it. Of course, unlike other Radicals as well, it's got a closed compartment for the driver. And of course you can see the engine there in all of its glory. Engines these days, super complex. New technologies always developing in terms of all the hybrid technologies we're seeing in many of the cars these days. As we get a view from the rear as well, big rear wing, triple exhaust. Be interesting to know what kind of noise this car makes. That's always the thing with some of these new engines. It's a whole different sound that they're making, but it's nice to be able to get up close and see some of this new equipment and explore it at the show. Okay, so next viewers, we're looking at the Autosport stand here. This is one of the main stands at the show, and this is where you'll be seeing lots of real racing drivers, engineers, people involved in the world of motorsport discussing their stories, and they're surrounded as well by some of the key cars. We can see Robert Kubica's new WRC car that he's going to be using as well. Good to see him back in top flight motorsport after the terrible injuries he suffered years ago. And across here over to my left as well, we see the e-tron Quattro, which we've covered before as well. So it's nice to see some of these cars on display again, giving members of the public the opportunity to get up close and see some of these cars as well, and see some of the racing drivers. So it's nice to have a little mingle and see all of this. Let's see what else we can find. Okay viewers, so next we're on the Lotus racing stand here, the Evora GT4 here, very nice looking car. It's a very racy looking car as well that we see here on display. A number of different Lotuses. Again, just showing a range of their different racing cars. And again, this is where some of these are obviously production sports cars as well, and it's where they sell a lot of these cars, they do a lot of business globally. This is a big show in terms of business for motorsport. And certainly this year it's a slightly different look to the car in terms of there's more production sports cars that are being shown as well. Of course, the thing with production sports cars is you need to sell a certain amount before you can enter certain races such as Le Mans, and it's interesting to see some of the variety of cars that have been on display, such as the Ford Radical we saw earlier. But let's crack on, see what else we can find. So next we're on the Caterham stand then, always an interesting stand as well, showing the many vehicles that they make as well. We have this new Aero 7 concept on display for the first time as well. Very interesting. It is too very minimalistic in terms of styling. Certainly something we'll look at more later as well. Over here, of course, we have their Formula One car. And this year they've been quite generous in showing some of the Formula One cars, and usually at the shows they show very much cut back versions of the cars, but this year they seem to have added a lot more detail showing the actual car that was used in the 2013 season. Caterham of course haven't mentioned their drivers for 2014 yet, but we are looking forward to the 2014 cars despite the questionable noses we've been seeing, especially from a recent Autosport publication. It shows they could be a little unusual, but it's nice to always get up close to the cars and see all of the details on them there as well. So that's it for part one of our Autosport International coverage. I leave you with a few scenes here of the Caterham Aero 7 concept, and of course do click on any of these links as well, other videos we have from around on the channel. But that's it from me for now. Lots more Autosport action to come, and there'll be more from me very soon.